Hello everyone, Shroomraver here, and today I have for you a post-narrated game in the UU tier. Now, I am trying out something very special for this game. I do want to base a session around it when I make my comeback to live sessions, but for now I'm just testing out in the UU tier Magic Room. Now, Magic Room is a move that it functions much like these kind of Weather Things or Trick Room for 5 turns, but Magic Room nullifies items. It stops items from being used, which makes for some really interesting possibilities along the lines of crippling opponents in order to set up the sweep for something else. And that's kind of what I'm going with the team that I'm going to go into right about now. As I say, this is UU, and what we have are 3 Magic Room setters. A few things that can mess with people's items, and a Sharpedo, ideally to sweep late game. So, let's start things off with Sigilyph. However you pronounce it, I think it's Sigilyph. So what we have here is a Choice Scarfed Sigilyph. Now, the moves are Magic Room, Trick, Calm Mind, and Psychic. The way this works, Magic Room in later generations moved from -7 priority brackets to just regular 0 priority bracket. So the Choice Scarf on Sigilyph means it's able to set up the Magic Room. Now, once that has happened, the Choice Scarf is irrelevant. I can set up Calm Minds to my heart's content, and the Choice Scarf, it doesn't matter. For those 5 turns, I can do what I want. The important thing to bear in mind is once the Magic Room wears off, I am locked into the move I started with, because I'm Scarfed. In this case, it is Magic Room. So the Scarf is really just there to allow me to get that Magic Room off, potentially trick it to something to cripple it, set up Calm Minds, go for the Psychic. The reason I do not have stored power is because it's a Scarf thing at the end of the day, and if it comes down to it, I want a move where if I'm the last Pokemon standing, have a Scarf, don't want to have stored power, you want to have Psychic. So that's the basic thinking behind the Sigilyph set. Let's move on to the second Scarfer of the team. We have Mr. Mime here. The problem with Magic Room users is that they are almost to a man weak to Dark. And the best bet I could find in UU was Mr. Mime. Because Klefki, the ideal Magic Room setter, is BL. So we got another choice scarf for Mr. Mime here, with the Magic Room Dazzling Gleam, Baton Pass, and Barrier. Mr. Mime has surprisingly good special defense, that big base 120 special defense, allowing it to really take those special hits very well. Doesn't have the greatest HP, but fully invested, it can take some hits. And I've got a bit of speed there. You know, it's scarfed, it can still outspeed some things. Much the same way as Sigilyph, the idea this time to be setting up the Magic Room and then baton passing to something to do some more work. Final Magic Room setter is Jirachi. This one is not particularly gimmicky other than having Magic Room. It's just Magic Room, Wish, Ironhead, U-turn, max HP, a lot into defense, and some nominal speed investment. Now, we get onto some gimmicky, tricky stuff here. First up we have Rotom-Heat. And you might be looking at the set and the item and thinking that it could never possibly work. As you can see, we've got a slightly weird investment, lots into HP, a fair amount into special attack, some into special defense, and a little bit of speed. We've got the Assault Vest, we've got Overheat, Volt Switch, Toxic, and Trick. Now, why would I be using Toxic and Trick with an Assault Vest? Magic Room. In Magic Room, the Assault Vest does not have its capabilities. What that means is I can trick someone on Assault Vest without having Clutch. The only Pokemon that could do that previously, I believe, was Lopunny. But obviously no one uses Lopunny, they use Mega Lopunny. But this way, with the Magic Room up, I can trick someone on Assault Vest, and it won't take hold instantly, but when that Magic Room runs out, they are going to be screwed. And that's the ideal thing. So then, you know, I've got the defensive investment to take some hits, Rotom naturally very bulky, and I can do Toxicing, Overheat, Volt Switching, all the good stuff that Rotom-Heat generally does. Fifth member of the team is Trevenant. Now, Trevenant has 2 great abilities in Natural Cure and Harvest, and 1 completely never used ability in Frisk, but that's the ability we are using because it's important to know what items opponents have so that I can mess around with them. Now, Trevenant's job is to take care of the choice Scarfers, because it's got an Iron Ball and Trick, Block just to keep things in if I want them to stay there, Will-O-Wisp and Hornleech, its classic moves that if it comes down to it I can use if needs be. And finally, as I say, we have the Mega-Sharpedo, very standard set, Protect, Waterfall, Crunch, Ice Fang. It's exactly the Sharpedo you would expect. It's not got any purpose on the team other than to sweep late game when the other 5 members have set up the conditions that allow for that to happen. So, that is the team. Let's get into the post-com and just see how things went down in the game that you're about to see. So, here we are at the screen. We're up against Wefjahege, however that may be spelt, or said, I should say. His team looks very interesting, and instantly I can see a few things that I want to mess around with items with, namely the Vaporeon and the Raikou, because if Miguel Mega Mogwai has taught us anything, and it's something I noticed that he says quite a lot, and it's something I'm only really just picking up on, identify the Scarfer. He's very good at doing it, and instantly looking at this, it's got to be Raikou. Possibly the Porygon Z. You don't see a lot of Scarf Nidokings very much anymore, and it's certainly not going to be any of the other 3, I would imagine. So, ideas that I wanted to carry out were to cripple, as I say, the Vaporeon and the Raikou. So, let's get into the battle and see how things panned out. I'm on the other side, he leads with the Raikou, I lead with Jirachi. Volt Switch is coming in, but I'm going to get the initiative because I've got the slow U-turn on Jirachi. In comes the Nidoking, and this is a threat that I don't particularly want to have to deal with, so I go into Sigilyph, who is Scarfed after all, and can just straight up take it out with a Psychic, and that's lovely. Raikou's in again, I don't want to be any of this action, going to go into Rotom-Heat, take the Volt Switch like an absolute champion, and in comes the Vaporeon. I can't deal with it just yet, but I will later. Volt Switch on out of there, go into the Mr. Mime to take any hits, Crit School only does 36%, I'm perfectly happy with that. Now here comes the first Magic Room, there's the Wish, and I can Baton Pass into the Sigilyph, who's taking a fair amount of damage from the Scald, but it's okay. Magic Room's up and I can try and do some damage. Here's the Rotom-Heat, goes for the Scald, and I'm happy sacking Rotom-Heat because here it is, I trick it an Assault Vest. And now, crucially, that Vaporeon cannot do its Wish Passing shenanigans, it's done, it's Assault Vested. So Trevenant's in, and in comes the Goodra as I go for a block, just to sort of stop the nasty things from happening. I didn't predict the curse, but I do go for the Willow, so it works out very well. No nasty attacking power for Goodra anymore. So I'm going to go into Mr. Mime to deal with it. He sets up another curse, this is fine. Mr. Mime can take a hit, it's got HP investment after all. And with the burn damage, a couple of those Dazzling Gleams will do for the Goodra. As you can see there, takes an Earthquake nicely. Obviously he's not going to go for Stab, doesn't affect me. So down goes the Goodra, and at this point, Porygon Z comes in, Mime's done its job, I'm just going to go for the Dazzling Gleam, get some prior damage, let Mime go down to PZ's Tri-Attack. Does mean I can bring in Jirachi, and get the initiative with that, well, sorry, an Iron Head first. Then I'm going to be able to go for the Wish, Scald comes in, it does get the burn, but Jirachi is not really meant for attacking, per se, it's there for initiative and to take hits. Going to go for the U-turn on the incoming Shaman, pass that Wish into Sigilyph. And here I make a bit of a boo-boo, I forget the Magic Room isn't up and that I'm Scarfed and I go for a Calm Mind, which was stupid, but Shaman goes for the Seed Flare, it's not going to do a lot to Sigilyph really, but he does get the Spadef drop. I want to get out of there because I can do nothing, so I go into Jirachi to take the hit. But our opponent does very well, goes into the Raikou, and is able to once again go for that Volt Switch. But again, once again, I can easily go for the U-turn and get that slow initiative into my Trevenant to try and deal with the Vaporeon. Vaporeon is going to go for Scald, it's probably the only attacking move it has, fishing for the burn, which is unfortunately for our opponent not forthcoming in the slightest. Trevenant going to be able to deal with Vaporeon with 3 Horn Leeches, and as you see there, no Scald coming for the Vaporeon. Down it goes, Trevenant netting itself another KO. Well, a KO I should say. Does take the hidden power, but here's the crucial thing. I can now trick the Scarfer and Iron Ball. Raikou is now completely crippled. It can't deal with my team now, and a couple of Horn Leeches will do for the PZ, who can't take out Trevenant with a Shadow Ball, and there is the second KO for Trevenant. But Trevenant has now done its job, it's crippled the Raikou. I go into Jirachi pretty much to sack it off to the Shaman, and I'm going to go into Sigilyph maybe to get some prior damage on the on the Shaymin and say, go for the Psychic. I'm not going to do a lot, well, Raiku's going to live it, but at this point, as I say, I can go into Trevenant, take a Thunderbolt like a champion. Unfortunately get paralysed, but it doesn't matter because the groundwork has now been set finally for Sharpedo to come in. Very standard stuff, I can go for the Protect, I can get the speed boost, and now I'm guaranteed to outspeed that Raikou because of the trick with the Iron Ball, taken out with a Waterfall. All he's got left is Shaymin, I go for that Strong Jaw Ice Fang, do get lucky with the flinch. Our opponent didn't like that, but in the end of the day it didn't matter because, as I say, I have Scarf Sigilyph waiting in the back just in case Sharpedo does go down. But that is going to be it, and that is going to be the game. So that's an idea of the kind of things I was going for with trying to make Magic Room, work. I do have an OU to Magic Room team, that's right, I have 2 Magic Room teams, because why the hell not? And I think that's the one I might try and session with because it's got better Pokemon in it. They do the jobs very well. Klefki is an ideal Magic Room setter, with the Prankster, of course, and that really nice defensive typing. But as I say, that's going to be it from this video. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope that you've enjoyed, and give these weird moves a go. If there's one thing I love more than a move that doesn't get used, it's a move that doesn't get used that can mess with the battlefield, and Magic Room was just the latest in a line of moves that I wanted to try out and try and make use of, and I think it kind of worked to my advantage here. Expect more experimentation in the future. Eyes on the skies, guys. But as I say, that's going to be it from me and this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and with that, I guess I will see you next time. Laters.